All right, let's pray. Dear Jesus, thank you so much for bringing us together, and thank you for this opportunity to learn how to cook and learn more about fats. Thank you for giving us fats, Jesus, and please give us wisdom and understanding how to use them in our diet for your glory. Amen. All right, today our topic is fats, and my husband prepared a wonderful lecture that you are going to listen. But for now, we are going to make butter. Who likes butter? We are going to make a healthy one. Unfortunately, I don't have anything to put the butter on. I prepared bread and I forgot. So please forgive me for that. But you're welcome to take home and put on your bread and shove it. You know? You do? Okay. Sounds good. If everybody okay with crackers, you're welcome to try that. So there are fats, and Scott is going to go much deeper into it. But I brought you some fats that we use at home. Nuts. This is almonds, cashews, sunflower seeds, coconut flakes, chia seeds. We have flax seed. What else you can get out there? Tell me. Walnuts, pecans, right? Hazelnuts. These are all great sources, and of course avocados. Those are really good fats. As far as nuts go, the king of the nuts is this, almonds. They are the best of the best. Cashews actually, to make them good, you have to, it's better to boil them or pour boiling water on them because they're dirty. It's better. Sunflower seeds, I ate so much growing up of sunflower seeds. Wow, but we do it home when we make salad dressing. We'll soak overnight and blend it up. It's all very good. And coconut flakes for granola, for example, or cookies or whichever. I'm melting some oil right now. Just a minute. Oh yeah, it's done. So, in order to make this butter, we are going to use couple fats. Coconut oil, this is just packaged for coconut oil, but I'll just put it in here. I keep refilling it. The coconut oil we get is unrefined and cold pressed. It's very, very good one. Coconut oil is really amazing oil. Well, they say it's saturated. It's no better than animal fat. That's not true. And Scott is going to say why. Coconut oil is plant oil for now, first of all. And what's amazing about it, it hardens when it's cold. And it melts when it's hot, like this. Become liquid. Isn't it amazing? When it's cold, it's like this. So it oxidizes very slow, because of this amazing ability. So I need to measure. Just a minute. The coconut oil, it's a base of it. It's basically 1 cup. Yeah, 1 cup of coconut oil. A bit more. Oh, perfect. I need 1 cup and 1/4. Yeah, that's just perfect. I'm going to make it and put it in the fridge so it can start. Good. And then I need olive oil. The olive oil we use in dark container. It's actually we get it in Walmart. You can get it good. And Scott also is going to tell you. This is 3/4 of the cup. Okay. Okay, I'm going to go like this. 3/4 is almost a cup. I hope I have enough. It's unrefined, cold pressed version olive oil. And it's best to use your nuts in whole form, like your fats. Whole avocado instead of avocado oil. Whole almonds instead of almond oil. coconut flakes instead of coconut oil. But it's still all right to use oil in your life, in your diet, if it's healthy oils. And these two are the best. We found out throughout the years. The oils. And so, olives, we use olives, of course, too. And maybe napkin. So, and there's oil, it's nice and dark. Now we need, 3 more tablespoons. Normally recipe calls for 3 tablespoons of flaxseed oil. But we don't use it at home. It oxidizes really fast, and because we don't use a large quantity, it goes bad fast.
Right.
So we're like, I'll just put extra olive oil. But you can buy, if it's cold pressed, just make sure you keep it in the fridge and use it within 2 weeks. You should be done with that bottle. It oxidizes extremely fast.
Yeah, it goes bad. Clouds really quick.
Yep, very, very fast. And it's not good for you. It creates free radicals, it damages your cells, and it will cause cancer and who knows what. So there are many different problems with oxidization. That's why, sometimes nuts get rancid, this bitter flavor. Toss it, don't eat it. That's they oxidized. As soon as you break a shell of a nut, that's it. The oxidization starts happening. Sometimes I remember in past, we'll buy in bulk, like walnuts, and they will be half black. So we had to toss them. And they should be very light color, the walnuts. They oxidize also very fast. So be careful with that. And of course, when you toasting is another thing. It's okay, but it's not the best for you, the toasting, because you change the structure of a nut, of a seed. I put some time, I toast sometimes, but it's not like every day. You can overeat your nut butters, and it's not just much harder on your digestion. Now we need 1 cup of water. Just 1 cup of water. Now, what happens when you combine water and oil?
They don't go together.
They separate.
God says, be separate. That's a great illustration of being separated. Look at that, isn't it amazing? Now, how are we going to combine them? How?
By mixing.
Lecithin. Lecithin is a key to make this butter. Without lecithin, it will not work. You can get Okay, so we are going to use 2 tablespoons of this at least. I use sunflower oil lecithin. You can get soya lecithin, but it's hard to buy non-GMO. It's not the best for you either. So we figure out this is non-GMO lecithin granules.
Non-GMO.
Non-GMO. I believe it is sunflower. But you can get soya as well. Soya lecithin. They sell 2 different kinds. Oh yes, it is soya. It's soya. But we found it non-GMO. So make sure it's non-GMO because it's so highly, polluted nowadays. It's sticky. It's fat. Lecithin is fat. And lecithin is very good for your brain. It's incredible. It's your brain food. It's actually, when I make bread at home, I will put sometimes lecithin in it too. It's very good for your brain. for your cells to function. You can also buy liquid lecithin. Mine also almost gone at home. I'll put a little bit more. And liquid lecithin is much more messy. It's hard. It's very hard to clean it. And 1 tablespoon of salt. It sounds like a lot of salt.
Yeah.
But butter needs a little bit salt. It's good. And this is good salt. So you'll find out it's not much salt at all after. So 1 tablespoon. This is very good salt. It's a little bit moist. It's because it has all the minerals, 90 plus, instead of 1. So that's it. We're done. Now just need to blend it up. Oh, and the key, also very important. I found this out hard way. Ice. Just 3-4 cubes of ice. It's really good to put in. And that helps you to harden it much better.
So what kind of salt is that?
Sea salt.
Oh, it's just sea salt.
Just sea salt.
It's weird, it all sits on top of that water.
Yeah.
Went under that oil and whoop. It's right there.
You don't like butter? I do too. I love it on bread, rolls, and things.
I know I used to eat a lot.
Okay. Get it that one?
They're so small and he's standing up there.
And look how much butter we made.
That's a lot.
That will last you a while. And it's not that expensive. I mean, look, we did almost half water, half oil, right? You think it's not only oil, it's actually water. And it's also good for you. So what I do, I like using little containers because we are going to put it in the fridge for it to harden better, so it can be more spreadable. Coconut oil always will harden naturally. But as I said, in order for it, and you want to blend it until it's nice and creamy like this, white. If you want to put some color, I like to put sometimes like turmeric, make it a bit yellowish color. Looks cute.
What about nutritional yeast flakes? Is that, no.
We don't use nutritional yeast flakes because, no. It's another topic for another time, I guess. It's one of those, you can say, MSG, excitotoxins, that affects your brain in a very negative way. Yeah. And so we used to use it, but we learned, we used to use it quite a bit actually. But then, again, if you learn how it's made, naturally, it's not MSG, but naturally in the process how they make it, it turns out to be. It's just like soy sauce, tamari, and all these fermented things. Yeah, I know it's but you know, notice it's quite addictive, don't you think? When you take it out, food doesn't taste the same. I'm
I
not
was just
saying
using it because it was good for you, I thought, and it's got B12 in it.
because they add into it. It's not natural like cured. No, they just simply take B12 from as a supplement and put into it. So you go ahead buy your B12 and you'll be fine. But it tastes good. It does. They know what they're doing to sell their product.
What?
Okay.
The nutritional yeast flavor. I don't really like it. I just used it because I thought it was good.
You don't like it? Oh, we used to like it a
No,
lot.
I don't really like it. I'm like, ooh, it smells funny.
Well, that's good.
Smell funny.
And I started putting it on my eggs because I thought it was good for you.
Oh, eggs already have B12. Why would they put it on?
What?
If eggs already have natural B12, don't they?
I don't know.
Anyway. Anyway,
I just the problem with the
my
carbon
spatula again, I did not get it yet. But that's
tax.
okay. I just need to remember to get it. And so this is guilt-free butter. Your arteries will not get sick from it. Your cholesterol will be good. Last I checked, my cholesterol is very good. So,
And it's cheap. You know how much a one of those little bitty containers of natural butter, natural vegan butter is in the store?
how much?
$9. They've gone up to $8.95.
I need to start making business. Would you buy me? Would you buy some butter? Samuel, hear that? Samuel has that little
I can show you what it is.
business brain in him.
Business manager.
We can make little support, Samuel.
That's not the same. I don't have that.
Yeah, that one is different, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
The one, it starts with an M, like Mako or something like that.
Mm-hmm. And you know, you look at the ingredients. That reminds me, may I take one?
Yeah, that's just that's Earth Balance.
Earth Balance. Oh, there is a different one also
Yeah.
on the market. Oh, okay.
Actually, I like the other one a little better, but it's the one that's $8.95. Yeah.
I normally will put it in the fridge overnight and it will be good to go next day. But hopefully by the end of the lecture it will be quite ready. So you look at this, it has vegetable oil blend, palm fruit, canola, soya bean, flax and olive. Canola is very bad for you. Canola oil is terrible. It's a natural pesticide. You know, if you put canola oil on your skin, the mosquitoes will not bite you. It's it's quite interesting oil. Plus, it's GMO, very highly genetically modified oil. And as we learned, soybean, same. Who will put not GMO? Unless they. Oh yeah, it's non-GMO, so it's non-GMO. Good. That's good. Water, salt, natural flavor. We learned about natural flavors, right? It's excitotoxins as well. Soy protein excitotoxins. Soya lecithin, which we did put. Lactic acid, annatto extract color. Color exact again. So it's, it's not too bad, but it's not the best. You can do even better.
It's not as good as that.
Yeah, it's not as good here. It's really simple. It can last you for a while. It never went bad for me, maybe because we eat. But it never went bad. So I'm done. After the lecture, we'll try the butter. Okay.
To understand fats, it's best if we start by examining omega-3. Omega-3 is an essential fatty acid. What does essential mean? Your body can't make it you have to put it in. Let's examine types and sources of essential fatty acids. Linoleum acid, which is omega-6, and that comes from plant sources. It's the most common omega-6 consumed. There's another version, that's a gamma-linolenic acid, and that also omega-6, but it's used primarily in medications. Then there's the omega-3 primary or base source, I guess you could say, the alpha-linolenic acid, and that's in plant sources. And when fish, for instance, consume that source, or when people consume that source, it's then converted to in the body to EPA, or from EPA then to DHA. Some people wonder why there's so many sources of omega-3, all of which are from fish. Why are fish so high? The reason why is because they eat a one-celled algae that is high in omega-3. And then, as we just mentioned before, that omega-3 is then converted to EPA, which is then converted to DHA. So that's why people often find that in these capsules. We'll talk more about that in a minute. So rather than getting your omega-3 source secondhand from fish, why not go firsthand to plants? The best source of omega-3 is in flaxseed and chia seeds. Now, what's the difference between the fish-derived omega-3 and the plant-derived omega-3? Now, that's a good question we'll get to next. The main type of omega-3s in fish oil are the EPAs and the DHAs. On the other hand, flaxseed oil contains the omega-3 fatty acid known as alpha-linolenic acid, or ALA. EPA and DHA are predominantly found in animal foods like fatty fish, while ALA is mostly found in plant foods. Now, the ALA and this found in plant foods is what the fish consume, and then the fish's body produces, as I mentioned before, the EPA and DHA. Omega-3 is an 18-chain fatty acid. It's a polyunsaturated fatty acid, meaning more than one double bond. In this picture, you can see differences between the single bond, double bond, and triple bond as far as the chemical makeup. I also have listed here the ALA and the SDA and the EPA and the DHA, different types of acids, fatty acids. Now, what or why are double bonds so important? They create an electromagnetic field. Our nervous system is an electrical system, so that is great brain food. It's good for the brain, good for the nervous system, good for the immune system, etc. And also, they are light sensitive, meaning that light is attracted in, and so it absorbs vitamin D better. But also, being light sensitive, the more double bonds you have, the more light sensitive it's going to be. We'll get into more of that in a minute. They also are heat sensitive, meaning the heat is attracted in. So our bodies manage heat better with more double bond amino acids in our system, or fatty acids. They act as a magnet to oxygen, so we can get more oxygen, the most vital element needed for life. Moving on to omega-6. It's also an 18-chain fatty acid. Unlike omega-3, which has 3 double bonds, omega-6 has 2. Therefore, it too is polyunsaturated. Now, most research indicates that omega-6 are much more damaging to the arteries than omega-3. Moving on to omega-9, which we'll find in olive oil and almond oil primarily. It's also an 18-chain fatty acid, unlike omega-3, which is 3 double bonds, or omega-6, which is 2 double bonds. Omega-9 is 1 double bond. Therefore, it's called monounsaturated. Now let's take a look at coconut oil. There are no double bonds in coconut oil. Therefore, it's a saturated fat. The key difference between coconut versus palm, because you've probably heard of palm oil, coconut oil is extracted from the kernel or meat of mature and harvested coconut, while palm oil is extracted from the pulp of a palm fruit. Now, every oil serves a function. Omega-3, for instance, is helpful for cell membrane function and repair. It's important to remember that omega-3 from flaxseed or chia seed contains a fatty acid known as alpha-linoleic acid, or ALA. In our bodies, ALA, as I mentioned before, is broken down into EPA, which has 5 double bonds. The EPA is then broken down into DHA, which has 6 double bonds. That's why fish oil, for instance, is so high in EPA and DHA, because their bodies have already started to break it down. And therefore, these two oils, as I just mentioned, 5 double bonds and 6 double bonds, are much more light, heat, and oxygen sensitive. And so, what do you think is going to happen when they package all this stuff up in these bottles and put it on shelves to sit out for people to eventually buy? It's going to most likely oxidize. And we'll get to the effects of that in a moment. And this is also why when you're buying flaxseed oil on the shelf, for instance, you'll find that it's in a black bottle, because they know it oxidizes very rapidly when exposed to sunlight. And so they keep it in a black bottle, solid black. And they also typically label it on the outside that you should refrigerate it the moment you've opened it. And in all reality, that stuff's only going to be good for a couple of weeks. Then you want to get rid of it. Now with the fish oil, when they harvest this fish oil, the fish they usually get it from is high in mercury. So what do you think your omega-3 pill is going to have in it besides omega-3? Mercury. Poly and monounsaturated fats are broken down in the duodenum and by the pancreas. They are then taken to the liver to be stored for cell membrane function and repair. But the coconut oil is different. It's broken down in the mouth. It passes through the digestive system and goes straight into the bloodstream and is used as fuel by the body. And it's not stored in the body like other types of fats. Coconut oil is made up of lauric acid at 48% and 40% of caprylic and caprylic acid, which is antifungal. It's an excellent oil for people with liver problems or pancreas problems because it bypasses both and goes straight to the bloodstream. It's also good for the nervous system. Omega-3 is best suited to help thin the blood and reduce inflammation. As a saturated fat, coconut oil is not hardly affected by light or heat like unsaturated fats are, which explains why it grows along the equator. Each oil is designed for its environment, particularly. Did you know that Eskimos, for example, get a lot of omega-3, which enables them to absorb vitamin D much better than someone living in Africa or the tropics? Now, how do they get their their omega-3? They get it through the fish they eat, the whale blubber, or maybe even they eat seaweed directly. But either way, it's all high in the omega-3s. And so it affects them for their environment. Also, they're able to economize their heat intake as well, which is very helpful for where they live. Now, with coconut oils, the saturated fats, that's going to be along the tropic area, and so the people down there, they don't need to economize on their heat levels, their fats, to build up to stay warm type of thing. They need to, get rid of that. But they do need to absorb vitamin D, but not to the level that the Eskimos do. They need really less help to absorb vitamin D since they're getting exposed to so much sunlight. Okay, so all this information can be found and much more in the book Fats That Heal and Fats That Kill by Dr. Udo Ermeus. He's got quite a knowledge of this and the resources to back it up. Remember what we covered about double bonds. Those 4 things: they create an electromagnetic field, they're light sensitive, they're heat sensitive, and they're oxygen sensitive. With that in mind, what happens when a poly or monounsaturated oil is exposed to light, heat, or oxygen? The answer is it oxidizes. What does oxidation form? It forms free radicals. When you extract a fat, it starts oxidizing, and the more double bonds it has, the faster it oxidizes. So which oils do you think oxidize the fastest to the least? Number 1 for the fastest would be flaxseed oil. Number 2 would be sunflower oil. Number 3 would be olive oil. Are you seeing how we're going down the list there? Of course, olive oil has been used for centuries, even in cooking. But more on that later. So what effects do free radicals have? Aging, inflammation, cancer, liver disorder, to name a few. A balance between polyunsaturated and antioxidants, such as vitamin A, C, and E, must exist to help balance the system out. How do we get it? By not extracting it to begin with. Because when you extract it, you're removing the antioxidants. And another way is to try to consume it before the stuff oxidizes. And minimize your exposure, minimize the exposure of the oil that you've extracted to heat or light or oxygen. And what oil can be extracted and used in cooking with the least oxidization? Notice the last on the list here, coconut oil. But isn't coconut oil bad for you since it's a saturated fat? Coconut oil contains a unique type of medium chain saturated fat called lauric acid. That research has actually shown raises HDL or good cholesterol levels, which may lower overall heart disease risk. And you can get research on that from Wikipedia. It's there. It'll tell you most of that, and there's many other sources, including the book I mentioned before. Now, if a bottle of oil says on the label, any kind of bottle of oil, partially hydrogenated. What does that mean? Is it dangerous? Is it safe? Basically, it's unfit for consumption because it's been processed in the factory. Well, here's a graph with the list of omega-6s and omega-3s. Linoleic is found in, which is omega-6. It's found in flaxseed and sunflower seed, soybean, walnut, safflower, hemp seed, pumpkin seed, sesame seeds. And these other 3 branches of omega-3s, the alpha, the gamma, the yeast, I can't even pronounce it. All those have different options. Like the alpha, we have the flax, we have the canola, the soybean, the walnut. Leafy greens and vegetables even have alpha in them. Hemp seed, purslane, perilla, etc. Now, one thing I haven't mentioned yet, that's important to note, the canola. The canola comes from rapeseed. When you buy vegetable oil on the shelf in the market, you're going to notice one of the ingredients is sunflower oil. Another ingredient is canola oil, most likely. And it might even have a little bit of olive oil, but probably hardly any. Now, the canola oil is also sold separately as its own oil. And when this first came on the market, I knew people were just ecstatic about it because it was very inexpensive and supposed to be heat resistant, etc. And so they thought this was the best thing since sliced bread. Well, the trouble is, when it first came out, some people were getting some pretty strange reactions. Some people didn't notice a thing, but some people were definitely getting reactions. And some people decided, you know what, I want to try something. And they tried using it as a pesticide. And they discovered, hey, this really works. It keeps the bugs off my flowers, or whatever the case. And the FDA eventually stepped up and said, hey, wait a minute, something's wrong here. And they discovered that canola oil from the rapeseed is poisonous. Unless, of course, and then of course they were going to pull it off the market. But then the company said, wait a minute, let's genetically modify it. So now it's no longer poisonous, right? As far as the FDA was concerned, yeah, that took care of it. Okay, you can put it back on the market. But they don't advertise that it's GMO on the bottle. And if you ever find a bottle that says organic, USDA organic, that means it's not modified. That means it is a pesticide. That means that it is one of those ingredients used in chemical warfare, such as in mustard gas. It's not a safe oil. So throw out your canola oil. Don't even bother with it. Now the question is, how much do we need? Our requirement is very small. Most basic diets provide sufficient linoleic acid to meet our daily requirements, which is like 1 to 2%. It's hardly anything. So there's nothing to worry about, and no known cases of essential fatty acid deficiency from lack of these things. As long as you're doing a good plant-based, wholesome diet with plenty of veggies, you'll be safe. No worries. And that concludes our lecture for today. I hope you're blessed. If you have any questions, feel free to contact us.
Good.
How is it, Michael?
Hey,
Good?
Good. Yeah.
Good, Melissa, good?
Yeah.
Good, good.